Hey everybody, welcome to the morning market briefing. It's Monday, March 23rd, 2026. Hope you're doing well out there. As a reminder, next week, April 1st, doing our event with Jacob's Ladder. Check out the jacobsladdergroup.org. Learn more about the organization. If you're in the area, we'd love to have you for a free lunch at 12:30 on April 1st. It's not an April Fool's joke, and should be a good time. Come learn a lot. Number of folks that I've heard from have really been encouraged and intrigued by the long form podcast. So that's great. Go check that out. It's on the YouTube channel. It's on the podcast feed. It's the last really long one we did. And guys, I met a super user over the weekend. That was cool, out in the wild. Someone came up that said they watched the show live. So share it with friends. Let people know we're here.
Good morning to you, sir.
Yeah.
You know who you are.
Yeah. Shout out. Does seem like he's an Auburn fan, but we won't hold it against him. But he catches plenty of strays with our attacks of Auburn.
They're just in love with us. I don't know what their deal is. We try so hard to just shake them off.
We try hard.
Season 7, by the way.
Yeah.
For those who have not been around for the long haul, this is the 6th anniversary. Season 7, episode 1.
We're starting the 7th year of the show.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it's
we
something.
Look so much younger.
Oh man, you pull up those old ones, and it's like, man, what happened?
That was just a young baby face, no mustache.
Yeah, I was much younger, but
I was exactly the same amount of younger.
Yeah, about
proportionally.
You're about
so
6 years younger.
Yeah.
Ben, is the war over?
This is. So I thought, and we talked about it on Friday, that something had to happen over the weekend, and nothing happened over the weekend. There was actually some really bad negative news flow. On one hand, Trump truthing out, if Iran doesn't fully open without threat the Strait of Hormuz within 48 hours, we will start obliterating power plants. And then, so I mean, it was
what a word.
It was 48-hour ultimatum that would expire this evening. Well, the problem is like evening here is after market day, and so this morning he truthed out that we have made great progress in our talks, and based on those discussions, we will not be.
We're gonna give him a 5-day warning.
5-day warning,
so that the market is not open.
Yep.
Not to go totally QAnon, but do you think there's a hidden message in that he used the word witch, W-I-T-C-H, instead of the word W-H-I-C-H?
He definitely intentionally misspells because he knows that people will key on that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a great way to get unlimited retweets because the haters and losers are going to blast that sucker everywhere.
Yeah. I mean, I'm thinking about starting to do that in the market memo.
Yeah. I mean, it's like the tweet version.
Hide a little Easter egg in there.
It's the tweet version of looks maxing.
Yeah.
You know? You just like put it out there and suddenly you get so much more coverage.
At one time he was talking about the 403Ks.
Yeah. And Kofefe, lest we forget.
Never forget Kofefe.
So the Iranians are basically denying that they've talked at all, which you knew that they would obviously deny. Yeah. And so and they're not going to immediately, like the Iranian media is not going to immediately know if there have been talks. So I think that the denial is just par for the course. I do think there have been talks now, whether they're to the degree that Trump wants them to be, and whether or not the strait is going to be opened as a result of that remains an open question. I think that's probably the viable middle ground here. But the Iranians definitely denying it, as you would expect them.
I mean, they very honestly tweeted out that video of the F-35 being shot down.
That was very legitimate.
They had also previously tweeted out weeks ago.
Yeah.
And neither of them were AI that I'm aware of. So
they were definitely legitimate.
Good, honest people.
And definitely came out with a statement from Mojtaba Khamenei.
Yeah.
Healthy, strong as an ox, that guy.
Yeah. I mean, we've got to come up with a new... instead of the straw man argument,
weekend at Bernie's.
This is the cardboard man argument.
So, I mean, this completely befuddles my plan of discussion for the call. So I put out these notes at around 6:20 or so, 6:30 this morning, and Trump
Ben was sleeping in.
7:05 a.m.
Trump tacoed at 7:23, and the market just ripped. But I did think that it was a poor weekend for the administration. I do think that Scott Bessent was on Meet the Press yesterday. Uncharacteristically poor, I thought he was. He was asked a number of questions. He dodged. He seemed evasive. He seemed more political. And I think that it really came across as someone who is trying to defend his organization, but doesn't really believe it. He's trying to spin a narrative that doesn't play.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it was, all you saw all weekend was they launched a ballistic missile at Diego Garcia. There's nonstop bombing. Iran with counter threats, and nonstop the airports are full of people.
The airports are real full.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's going to have an impact. I mean, Delta just said that demand is so strong right now, but, with prices going up, with oil going up, and with probably even more importantly, the TSA lines. I think people just do not want to travel. I have to go to New York this week.
Here's a question for you guys. What is your threshold in which you're like, okay, it's easier to fly this distance? Because I'm like very comfortable with a 5 or 6 hour drive.
Yeah, I'd say flying. That's probably about my threshold.
My border is 8 to 9 hours.
Okay.
Especially now that I have a wife and child and it costs more money to travel. Like you get much more economies of scale taking one vehicle than 3 plane tickets or he's still under one.
Sick brag about the wife there. No big deal. Not to flex on everybody, but Ben has a family.
Sorry about that, Hicks.
Jokes on Hicks.
But now, like for me, if it was just me, I'd probably be more like 5 or 6 hours. I just hop in a plane. I can work on it. I don't have to drive. It's 12 hours round trip. But
you do wonder if like the 4 hour line, like does that
it
starts to creep in here where it's like, okay, maybe normally I'd be fine driving to Nashville and back, but I'd probably fly to Memphis. Am I now like, I'll just drive to Memphis?
Yeah. I feel like Orlando, it's an 8 hour drive. What do you do with that now?
Yeah. That's right on the bubble.
Yeah.
You just don't go.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Orlando is the pits, but I feel like that's right on the edge of like, that's the perimeter now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we both, well, I used to drive to see clients in Roanoke. That's about 8.5, and that is a long drive.
Mm-hmm.
And the drive back is worse. But we've done that flight, and it's like 45 minutes. It's not bad.
You're up and down.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ben, you're going to LaGuardia this week.
Yeah, if it's open by then. So there's obviously, if you guys hadn't seen this, a Air Canada flight was taxiing and ran into a fire truck that was responding to another United flight, and 2 pilots died. And this happened at about 11 p.m. last night, and they say that LaGuardia is going to be closed until at least 7 p.m. today, which is crazy.
That it's a major operation to be closed for that long.
Yes. So I think that the administration's battling on a number of fronts right now, and nothing seems to be going that well.
The Canadian offensive is strong. I mean, are we considering this a military act?
I mean, I think people are definitely blaming this too on funding concerns for air traffic controllers and saying that they're overworked, underpaid, and then it's just kind of all bleeding through with the TSA stuff.
Yeah, and there doesn't seem to really be an off-ramp on this. I mean, the Democrats really don't seem to be letting up on this, and now we're going to be in a spot where they don't want ICE funding, and now ICE is going to be running TSA, at least for the time being, or agents will be there.
I mean, why go to them when they can come to us? You know?
It's very efficient. Very, very efficient. But yeah, I mean, kind of a grind of a weekend for the administration. And then you get this news this morning. It certainly changes things. How are you viewing what the market's up? What, about 2% right now?
It was. I don't know where it is right now. It's been really volatile. Then it came all the way back down to about 1%. Bonds were up at 444 on the 10-year. They came all the way down to 430. Then they were back up to 440. So we're not seeing it stick. It's kind of like that. The snow falling is like it's not sticking. But it's
swirling.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of where we are now. I think that we were so oversold coming into this that any good news can gain a foothold. My view is that there are some conversations happening. At the very least, the Trump administration is wanting out, and I think that's eminently clear. The question now is
who they're talking to,
and more importantly is, does them wanting out allow for the strait to be opened? I don't know, and I think that's the question the market's going to have to grapple with. Oil was down $10 at one point. Now I think it's down maybe $5 or $6, so it's still off of where it was. We'll just have to see if this sticks. I think there's probably smoke where there's fire. Question is how much smoke there is. I think given where markets were sold off, I wouldn't be chasing here, but that's because we were buying on Friday. If you were in cash, I think right now you would be foolish not to put a little bit money to work, but I certainly wouldn't shoot all your bullets right now.
I mean, if anything, I'd say skew towards fixed income.
Yeah.
Because the bond market has shrugged this off pretty strongly. And, I mean, it's win or lose. If this thing goes through or not, it's going to take some time for the oil prices to normalize again. That spike is going to filter all the way through, and people are worried that's going to cause inflation, which it may. I mean,
it will in the short term.
I mean, it will.
Yeah, and I think that's a good point, because I think if you listen to this call and you've listened for a long time, we've been very critical for the last 15 months of the inflation narrative. Here's an instance in which we're saying, no, this may cause inflation.
This is a real thing.
We're not inflation deniers. We're deniers of the causes of inflation that have been pointed to over the last couple of years. But oil being elevated to the extent it has been elevated, even for this period of time, may cause inflation.
Yeah, I mean, the inflation we've seen this year that has been attributed to housing, that's not real.
Yep.
The inflation that could be contributed by rising oil prices and elevated oil prices is going to be real. That's just a fact.
Mm-hmm. And my view is that it's not going to last for that long.
Would you use the word transitory?
In this case, yes.
Yes, this is the correct use of the word transitory.
Yes. But I do think it's interesting with gold. I think that, I for a long time have talked about my view on gold and how it trades. And I think I even talked about this before gold kind of topped out at $5,500 an ounce. But basically with the gold, everyone's kind of confused about, and before this news came out about Trump, the narrative was oil's going crazy. We're going to have massive inflation. Bonds are getting crushed, and the war is not going the U.S.'s way. That was the narrative prior to 7:23 a.m. this morning. Gold was down like 8%.
It's still down over 4,
and
4,400-ish.
And people are kind of confused about why that's the case. I think, and I reiterate this today, the way to trade gold, if you're trading it, and we've talked about how to own it, but if you're trading it, it is what is the Fed going to do next? Is the next move to become more hawkish or more dovish? Not what they're doing now. So what they're doing now is they're neutral. When gold was skyrocketing earlier this year, the next move was to become more dovish. The Fed was going to print more money. They were going to cut interest rates. Kevin Warsh was going to come in. There was lower inflation. This was all good stuff for gold. They were going to react to that especially on a Kevin Warsh Fed. Now you have Jay Powell out there for potentially longer, who's at least neutral, maybe hawkish, and you have this inflationary force. So now the market has priced this in, and I would disagree with how strongly it's been priced in, but now instead of going from neutral to pretty dovish, you're going from neutral to somewhat hawkish. And so that's a massive swing in expectations of what the Federal Reserve is going to do. And as a result, you've seen gold really come off the boil.
Here's another way to think about it. Gold is valued in dollars. Oil is also valued in dollars. Using the commutative property, gold can be valued in oil. And if oil increases greatly on that ratio, gold is now worth less. Think about that.
Man, it's early for that.
Yeah. So gold divided by oil is now a worse ratio, even though they're both valued in dollars, and one has gone up and was gone down. Think about that. Yeah. But I mean, it's sort of a joke, but the value of gold always stays the same. What changes is the stuff around it. What's really changed is that oil has gone up quite a bit, and so it's become a more valuable, more sought after resource in a very short period of time. And all of that money where there's almost speculation, people are just like, I'm going to gold continues to go up, firing into it. Suddenly there's a more obvious trade, and that more obvious trade the last 2 weeks has been like, well, oil's going up, and what begets higher oil prices is higher oil prices. And so suddenly all that money that's in that speculative trade of like gold, they're selling and they're buying oil and they're going the other direction because that's an obvious trade. I mean, that's what it is when gold really goes, it's because it's an obvious trade. When oil really goes, it's because it's an obvious trade. And as one increases in value, the other is going to naturally decrease in value because it becomes an obvious trade.
It's so obvious, I think, that the conversations I'm having with conversations with clients over the weekend, and these were the same clients who were really asking me, do we just need to be loading in on gold at like $5,200, $5,300 an ounce? And I said, pump the brakes on that. They're now saying, should I sell everything?
Yeah.
Which kind of gives you an idea of that's where sentiment is.
Yeah. That's how you get burned, is you try and chase something that seems like an obvious trade.
Yep.
It then suddenly collapses, and then your instinct is, well, I'm only down 10%. You go to cash. The weekend comes, you get a taco tweet, and suddenly you could have just been in the stock market and you would have been roughly flat. It's like, but you've taken a 10% hickey because you were like, oh, gold, everyone's talking about gold. So you got to manage those emotions and manage that understanding of the market.
The whole axiom, buy when there's blood on the street. There's blood on the street right now. It feels terrible to buy. Like you can say that in good times, but this is what it looks like.
Yeah.
Sometimes the safest move is to take some risk.
Yeah. Zuckerberg, he's making his own AI agent, Ben. He wants to really push this upon everybody. He's starting with himself. Wants everyone in the company to eventually have their own personal AI agent, with the goal being efficiency, fewer stops between communication. I don't know that I'm surprised by this, but I would love to audit Zuckerberg's agent. Just be like, what's this thing doing?
I mean, tinfoil hat, you use that agent to do all your stuff. It realizes what all the stuff you do is, and then you get axed.
I mean, that's the not so subtle message that he's sending. He said, we're investing in AI native tooling so individuals at Meta can get more done. We're elevating individual contributors and flattening teams. That means if you're a middle manager,
smashing them.
You're
Tough
kidding.
times.
Yeah.
Jensen One was on the All In podcast talking about really his view of AI being that, this will high grade jobs. People will stop doing tasks and be more visionary and elevate their own game, which I think that will be true in some cases. In other cases, they will be flattened. But
he used the example of the chauffeur. It's like the chauffeur might not be driving, but he might be in the front seat and he might be doing other tasks like scheduling tasks and things like that.
it's a good driver. And so makes you think. What's top of mind as we look at the week ahead?
What are bonds going to do, man? I don't know. I need them to react positively here.
Yeah.
Or not. Actually, that's not true. We have had a lot of maturities, and we have a huge maturity date on the 4/1. If we could hold this out for 8 more days and get all
Let's
that.
just grind it out and then get that money
We
to
could
work.
just, hold here for call it 10 days.
And then April 2nd, let's rip.
Yeah. That's the goal.
I love it. Ben, anything top of mind?
No, heading off to hopefully I can deal with the TSA lines, but then I'll be at the Sunbelt Investor Day on Thursday.
That's big. All right. We'll wrap it up there. We will be back tomorrow. Make sure you subscribe, like the video, share it, all that good stuff. Talk to you soon.